What's going on, everybody? I'm Guard 710. Welcome to TPI, the Total Podcast Idiots Show. I'm the only idiot in the room. Sorry if you hear some noise. It's very hot here at my home. So I'm the fan running to help keep me cool a little bit, and I've got some water here. But yeah, last season when I somehow won, we took a look through a lot of my process and looked at the season. So I kind of wanted to keep that going. Someone had that idea. I really liked it. And so I'm gonna try to look at the the champions for each season and look at what they did, how they played, how they built their team. I don't obviously have firsthand knowledge. Some I'm more knowledgeable about than others, of course, but I'll try to do my best on breaking it down from my point of view. Um, and so, yeah, first, congratulations to Hodge and St. Thomas Aquinas on their second national championship. This is their second. They won their first way back in 2000 in the 2004 season. So 35 seasons ago. That's really awesome. That number one, they've been there for that long, and had varying amounts of success. But success on such wide ends of the timeline. And so that's really cool to see. And if you don't know much about Hodge or Aquinas, um, or Scholastica too, the other team that they run, um, they have a very distinct style, I'd say. It's very fast, typically fast paced, perimeter oriented, very offense heavy. So think like the Phoenix Suns when Steve Nash is running them, 7 seconds or less. Like that's kind of what I envision Aquinas and Scholastica being like. I think I once called Aquinas Hodges' sane team though, because I think Scholastica tries to run their players like 37 plus minutes a game, sometimes 40. Aquinas is a little more tame than that. But they definitely run at a higher octane pace than I am typically comfortable with running my teams. So, we'll see that when we break down these teams. I mean, you can see here field goal attempts being in the 70s. When you look at like my teams, they're like 65. So that's a lot higher. Fast break, it's double digits. That's pretty fast. Distance being 11. I think it's feet. I'm not entirely sure, but 11 is pretty high. Usually I consider like 10 perimeter oriented. 9 is being balanced, 8 is more inside. So 11 is like really far out, right? But 101 points a game on average is pretty fast, pretty high. They shot 40% from three on 32 attempts a game, making 13 a game, which is a lot of threes. Um, and that's almost half their shots from three, well over that 33% mark that I typically think of for like a balanced team. Yeah, 86% from the free throw line is really good, really, really solid mark. They out rebounded their opponents a lot. Um, you can look at the turnovers though. I mean, they're pretty even. Fouls are pretty even, right? So that's pretty interesting to see. I mean, I don't know what to make of that really. I mean, they won the championship. It's hard to argue against their methods, of course. So, but I think the main thing about Aquinas last season, and I'm looking at this on the Sunday of the flip, so rosters have already churned over. But Aquinas was like super deep. I think they only graduated one important player, and that being their starting small forward, Odell Johnson, who was very good. We'll get into him in a bit. But they were a super deep team. You can see even now, they just graduated one. They have I can't do this math that quickly. 3, 5, 7, 8 players at 150 SI or higher, which is crazy. And then you add Johnson in, that's 9 players above 150 at the end of the season, at least. And that's insane. Like, obviously, you start 5 players, so they have almost a full bench worth of players at 150 SI or higher, which 150 is typically like above average starter in LL2, LL1, maybe average starter. And so they've got 9 guys at that level. That's you know, gonna be tough to beat in any configuration really. So yeah, I mean that speaks to the roster building that Hodge really excelled with this team and even this season's team, the 2040 seasons team. Um, so I thought that was really impressive, and I think that was like the most distinctive thing about their team. A lot of people pegged Aquinas as being one of the top teams coming in, and they lived up to it. So yeah, I think that was really big. Um, so yeah, Johnson being, I believe their top scorer last year at 21 points a game, a great shooter, 50% from the field at 1.22 points per possession, which is remarkably efficient. 47% from three on over 7.5 shots from three and a half threes a game. Yeah, this kid shot the lights out. Being a 6'8" small forward, gives him a size advantage over a lot of guys. He was pretty athletic, decent weight. I mean, a pretty good weight, really. I mean, he could probably play inside power forward for a bit. I mean, you can see he has power forward main as his main position. He played center. I think Hodges said that Johnson was kind of like his small forward, starting small forward, and then like his backup center, really. I mean, you can see his minutes breakdown here. I have it here. Small forward mostly, but power forward some, center a little bit. And last year even he was mostly power forward, started power forward, then moved to center. So he definitely was could be a big man, could be successful, but I think Hodge, I guess, unlocked him when he switched to being a perimeter, being a small forward. I think Hodge valued the size, and especially you look at the speed being 17, which is really good. Um, he kind of threw the perimeter defense being an 8, which is pretty weak for a small forward in LL2. He threw that to the wind and just trusted the size and the speed to take over. And it's not that Johnson was like a great defender, but you can see he defended the three really well. He wasn't a great interior defender, but those also take into account like mid-range shots. So hard to really tell. And plus, he played some in the post as well too. So but I think moving him to small forward for a portion of the game at least, it seemed to unlock like Aquinas's roster and Johnson himself. Sorry, I'm switching back and forth. I mean, you can see how this really helped him. But yeah, I think that was really big. And maybe Hodge, feels differently. Again, this is my point of view. I don't really know. I mean, Hodge promoted from Aquinas promoted from LO3 to LO2 when Johnson was still in the post. So, it's not like he was hurting them really. He just got a lot better. And usually when good players are performing well, your team is going to do well. So, yeah, this team, I think, Johnson was a threat, but I think most people were, at least when I played against Aquinas, or did I even play against Aquinas like this whole season? It doesn't look like it. It was, I don't know, when I was helping people game plan against Aquinas, maybe, or when I've played Aquinas before. I don't even know when the last time I played them. I think I look towards Hector Holland as being like probably the most dangerous player. It kind of been built up, I think, in the Discord at least, like Holland's being this like offensive spark plug, at least. You look at these shooting ratings, they're phenomenal. I mean, so are Johnson's. But Holland seemed to be like that spark plug that really, I don't know about made Aquinas go, but that I was mostly worried about, at least because with Johnson, it was like, oh, wasn't sure which position he was going to be at, I guess. So, I didn't think he was much of a threat at power forward or center. And so that would mean Hollins is the guy to really watch out for here. But yeah, and I mean, Hollins was very good last year for sure. But, you know, Hodges said he benched Hollins for a bit, and you can see that here. And then he took him off the bench, and Hollins just exploded. And that's I just got shocked by his defensive number here, despite a 10 rating in perimeter defense, 36.2 opponent's field goal percentage is elite. So that's really interesting, um, that he was able to perform that well. So yeah, I think going back to the roster here, it's to me it was Hollins really that was the main threat. And Johnson definitely took advantage of that, I think, at times. But yeah, you look at the point guard, Kelly really set people up. 19 passing is really good. Yeah, he's a really good player, solid point guard. Got all the decent ratings. I mean, uh, you can see his like defense isn't great. I'd say is one thing. His handling, being a 10, it's not atrocious certainly, but for a point guard, I'd want it to be higher for sure. Sargent, he's kind of a weird build. I'd say for most of us would describe this as like not an ideal build for power forward. Having such a wide disparity in the interior defense being lower than the perimeter defense by such a wide margin, at least. I mean, and being 6'7" is a little short, I'd say most of us would consider for a power forward in Legends, at least. Aquinas is going to be in Legends this upcoming season, and they're projected to be a really good team. But I guess I'm pointing out some of their weaknesses that I see that I may or may not be able to exploit with my own team. We'll see. Hodge is really good. Oh, there's fireworks. It is July 4th in a few days, so people got to practice, I guess. But Sargent is like an elite inside scorer, and so that's makes him dangerous, certainly. Not that he was used as much last season, but he'll be a bigger part this upcoming season with Johnson having graduated. Yeah, and I mean, Lord Norton is still there. He was also a really interesting player to kind of think about when I was looking at this roster. He's got like a much more typical build of a big that I see a lot in Legends and LL2 and the national tournaments and stuff. And so, he'll be a big piece. And he had a great year last year. 65% field goal percentage, 1.3 plus points per possession is incredible. His usage rate wasn't super high, but it was useful enough, to provide paint interior presence for Aquinas, make them not so easily defendable, so easily predictable. Yeah, Bartholomew, he's going to take over for Johnson as the starting small forward, but he was a very good six man for this team. So yeah, that was it's a tough team. And again, like I said, I think the high end depth of this team was what really set them apart in the tournament. We can see their run, they beat Tufts, and Westfield State was a really good team in Legends. They beat NC Central, former national champion, former recent national champion, Bama, who, not just a national champion or in Legends, but, had such a strong roster, and they looked like one of the best teams coming into this season. With 4 or 5 stars on their team, or last year they had 4 or 5 stars. And Aquinas just eked it out against them. Going to overtime against USC, and SC had a really strong roster last season, and then beating Nevada in the national championship. Nevada being Legends team, but in such a strong defensive team, at least I think of them. Yeah, they just went on that magical run. So, I mean, that was their run in the tournament. You can see like they went to their conference championship game. They lost a crazy barn burner game to this. You think Aquinas runs fast. You look at Cal Poly Pomona. I think Aquinas probably had like 87 possessions a game or something like that, high 80s. Cal Poly Pomona was like 95 possessions a game, which is just an insane pace. They're going to enter Legends for the first time. Congrats to them and Bengelman for their rise. And we'll see what happens. I'm personally not as much of a believer in the fast pace as other people. I don't know. I don't think it really works at the highest levels, but Bengelman's got them to legends on it, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Um, I wanted to point to Aquinas's non-conference schedule though. They played it looks like a 6-game road trip here and two early on. And sure, they lost to Missouri Western, but Missouri Western dominated Legends. They were one of the best teams in the country last season. And Aquinas hanging in there against Missouri Western, it was a good sign, I'd say, for their chances, and then beating, a solid Bridgeport team, former Legends mainstay Florida Gulf Coast. A&M was pretty good, I think, this past season. Or they have been, at least. I'm not sure. But that was a close game. They lost, but it was on the road. Same with Florida International, close game on the road. UNLV, close game on the road. Beating Emporia State, who's like a D1 team who's had some success. Houston has a lot of talent a lot of the time. So I mean, Aquinas is definitely more battle tested than at least my team. So, yeah, I think that really sharpens one's, ability to game plan. And yeah, I think that was really helpful in their run too. So, they didn't just graduate Odell Johnson, they also graduated Sylvia Olivas, who definitely didn't get as much playing time as anyone else. But here's the astounding thing, he was a 144 SI, which would play on pretty much every team in the nation except apparently this Aquinas team. Especially a really good build, at least like looking at this recruiting eval, like that's a good build. But he hardly played, he hardly developed, and so yeah, that I think that was just shocking to me to see a 144 SI basically not play at all as a senior, or as an upperclassman at all, really. Yeah. Um, so those are the only two players Aquinas graduated. So they look really good coming into this year. So yeah, I mean that was pretty interesting. They don't look as strong as last year, I'd say, but I mean I think that just naturally happens. They still look really good. So we'll see. We'll see how they do. Yeah, I think Legends looks really, really strong this year. I believe the top 12 teams in the polls are Legends. And I mean, the polls definitely don't mean everything or really anything. But I think for the past few seasons, it's done a decent job of predicting a little bit about what happened. I mean, I know because of my team, we were ranked number 1 in 2038. We ended up winning, so that was a good thing. And Missouri Western was ranked really highly, I think number 1 last season, and won Legends by a lot. So yeah, like I think it's done a pretty good job at prognosticating, like a lot of things, at least, not everything, but nothing really is. And then so yeah, the top 12 being in Legends, and then here's 13, 14, 15. So the top 15 or 15 in the top 25. I mean, which yeah, that's a lot. Who's the 16th team? I actually don't know. Then Marquette, no, UCLA. I don't even know who if someone wants to fill me in here, I don't know. I can't do the math that quickly. And yeah, the polls do take into account like the TPI, so that should tell me who is not looking too great. Cat, interesting. I think they were one of those teams there. Maybe they weren't. Oh, Marquette's right here. Okay, so great job by me figuring that out. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's all I really wanted to do. I guess we can look at I guess the other thing I want to do is like look at the Hall of Fame. And so in Discord, I know most people who watch this are on Discord, but I guess some people aren't. So on Discord we have like we had like a what do you want to call it, a community vote for like a Discord Hall of Fame, of players and eventually coaches who we thought were deserving of being in like a Hardwood Hall of Fame, Hardwood wide Hall of Fame. And so this year's lone inductee for the players is Irish Shaver from, he went to Minnesota State back in from 2018 to 2022. He was on that national championship winning team in 2021 for Minnesota State. And he was phenomenal for them, really, in driving that run. You can see how many Player of the Game awards he won, 61, which is a ton. He was one of the best, most impactful, effective players. Really, you can see these field goal percentages are insane. And so he was just extremely efficient. Yeah, so congratulations to Irish Shaver, congratulations to Minnesota State and Sea Delks on that, or Matty Soda on that induction. And then I believe the other inductions were let's see, I can pull this up in a different way. I believe Eric Stein, coach of Temple, recent coach of Temple. And Wendell Brantley. Right. Let me find those guys. What did Wendell Brantley coach? I actually don't remember. Temple here for Eric Stein. Where did Wendell Brantley coach? I should be able to figure that out. Hold on. Bear with me, everyone. Bear with me. Anyways, share screen. I guess I can take everyone to Discord. That's fine. Where did Wendell Brantley coach? Yeah, man, Lemon Clark should have. I thought he should have made it. Wendell Brantley. Okay, well, here was a Google sheet that we all had going, and props to P. Schwartz for running this for so many seasons. Props to P. Schwartz for all he's done in the community. He's going to be really missed. He made a post earlier in the week, saying he's unfortunately got to step away from Hardwood, and I think we all feel that. We all appreciate, what he's done for Hardwood. And yeah, and the community. So, he's run some great teams at Richmond. And so yeah, I just want to give him his props on the program he run there. And yeah, he's done a lot. And so tough teams to be. I never liked playing Richmond. So yeah, it's, I guess, like, tactically, I guess I'm happy, but yeah, it's sad to see like such a good member of the community step away. And I hope they can find he can find the time to come back, the ability to come back at some point. But it seems like he's going out on his terms and on a good note, and so that's really good. So yeah. So yeah, congratulations to Wendell Brantley here, the coach from Sioux Falls, the current coach. You can see like the resume that he's built, almost a 70% winning percentage overall, 64% in conference, almost 500 wins in conference, over 700 overall. Won a national tournament back in 2032. Seven conference championship or conference tournament titles, which is nuts. I don't remember how many like regular season conference titles they've won. Let's see. Brand, yeah, you can kind of track it this way. So 1, 2, 3 in a row here, which is crazy. 4, 5, 6, another 3 in a row. 7. So yeah, seven conference titles, 7 conference tournament titles, and a national title. Yeah, that's pretty dang deserving, I'd say. And then Eric Stein here, the former head coach from Temple, who is now at Wheeling Jesuit, I believe. And and just took Wheeling Jesuit to a very good season last year. Of course, I mean, you have this caliber of a coach. Yeah, you're probably going to improve if you're in LL6. But yeah, I mean, let's see. So 6 conference tournament championships, 5 with Temple, and 1 national title back in 2029, and a couple runner-ups too with back in 2035 and 2036, the Final Four year, and the Final Four here. So 2 Final Fours, 2 national runner-ups, and a championship. So 5 total Final Fours, I believe, if my math is correct. Which, yeah, I mean, fantastic history by Eric Stein there for the Temple program. And so let's see how many conference championships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 conference tournaments. So yeah, that's quite the run there. And I mean, let's see, I'm just looking at what other Final Fours Brantley has. He has 1 other Final Four, it looks like. So yeah, congrats to those to Ira Shaver and Eric Stein and Wendell Brantley on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so you can see on this spreadsheet the other people, players and coaches who have made the Hall of Fame for us. I'd say we're a pretty strict group. I know there was one season we didn't elect anyone. No one got in. There was, I guess, yeah. So what, 20, I forget what season. I forget. Yeah, 2036, no one got in. So yeah, we've been pretty harsh. You can see, yeah, the first class we had quite a few get inducted. I mean, that was the first class. And then after that, it was kind of like, oh wait, this is the first class. This is a different class. This was just an exceptional class, exceptionally talented class. But yeah, we've kind of just inducted like 2 to 3, sometimes just 1 player in a season. So, and then, we've only done a few coaches. So yeah, I think we're a pretty strict group. So it takes a lot for a player to get in. So, I mean, you could see the resumes of these players. Yeah, you have to be ranked in the top 20 overall in Hardwood history for a lot of them. You have to have obviously made the national tournament a lot of times, probably, maybe made a Final Four, maybe won a national championship, maybe won a league championship, or your tournament title, your conference tournament title. I mean, you can see here 2-time national champions coaches were inducted, right? So, it takes a lot to get inducted, and you can see all the work that P. Schwartz did, not just for the career of the player and coaches, but their best year, breaking down for the coaches, breaking down their performance. And so I think this really goes to show the insight and the level of like analysis that people in this community do. And kind of what it takes to like be at the top. Richmond, was one of the top teams, yeah, for a long time, one of the top programs. And so, that's, I think, speaks to their I don't know, like ability to play this game well, yeah. So yeah, I think that's about covers it. Obviously I can't provide as in-depth of an overview, an analysis into Aquinas's run as I did with Dominicans. I don't know. It's hard to like bring on people because I record these at 9:30 at night on the West Coast. I don't know, I was just pumped up from a busy week and watching the Olympic track trials. For those who don't know, I love track and field and running, and so I'm just so pumped. Today was crazy. Lots of really fast times and stuff. So I was just really pumped from that. And I wanted to do this, of course. Yeah, so I'll try to do these basically every season, just looking at the championship winner, the national tournament winner, because I think that's pretty cool. And I don't want to seem like I just did it for me because I won. Even though I kind of just did, yeah. So yeah, signing off. Till next time. I forget how we sign off again, but yeah, this I love talking hardwood. So hopefully you do too. Hopefully you like watching these. And you learn something because there's lots to learn and lots to get better at with this game constantly. So yeah, till next time. See ya. Bye. Oh, dang it. I gotta figure out how to end this dang meeting again.